crafty people, Emily here today, and I am showing you a new release, the spring release from Catherine Pooler. So let's see what we got here. Ooh, we got some beautiful egg stamps and Happy Easter and these beautiful ones that can make a really great border. And some coordinating dies for the eggs and flowers, and then also this beautiful scalloped one. So today I think I'm going to be using these stamps, and I have just a couple inks here. And I'm going to be doing the tetrad, so the 4 colors on the color wheel. I'm going to pick 4 here in order to make my own background. So I decided on shea butter, cummerbund, mandarin spice, and I was going to do lilac, but I end up switching to pixie dust. So here I'm just starting with one of those border shaped, it's like a border stamp is kind of my idea of it. So I decided to make the whole background of my card though with this. So I'm beginning with pixie dust here. And I'm just moving my paper over so I can make a nice straight decorative line. And then the next one, there's also this scalloped heart one, and I'm using mandarin spice orange color for this. So throughout my whole pattern here, I decided to keep the scalloped heart one, the mandarin spice color, and then I was switching from the blue, yellow, and purple colors with this longer strip with the more detailed pattern. So here's my blue, this is cummerbund, and I'm just going through with my Misty. It makes it so easy to be able not only to stamp in a straight line, but to re-stamp so you can get that perfect color that you want. So just continuing on with my pattern, and the next one I'm doing is that beautiful scalloped heart. And I'm going to do that every other one, and then in that beautiful mandarin orange, and then we now have our final strip here of that 4th color. So this is the shea butter, and just stamping this a few times since that's just a little bit lighter, and this looks great. So you can see how nice this turned out, and I'm just going to continue to go with the different colors. So you can see how beautiful that background turned out. I just love it, and it kind of looks like an Easter egg. So I'm going to work on some flowers here and maybe some sentiments to incorporate into my card. So here I just have a fresh piece of white cardstock, and I just have the 3 flower stamps that come in this stamp pack. I really like this stamp pack because it can be used either for spring or for Easter. So it's kind of nice. It gives you a lot of versatility, and also you could see with that stamped background I did, you could use it in a lot of different ways. So here I'm just using the same 3 colors that I used on the front of my card. I'm just sticking with the purple and yellow and blue. So cummerbund, shea butter, and pixie dust. And I'm just re-stamping twice for these flowers to get that desired look that I want. So I'm going to do this a couple more times. So I'm going to have 3, 6, those look great, and 9 different flowers here. And then I'm just going to run these through my die cutting machine. These look great. And again, so much versatility. So these come with some coordinating dies, not only for the flowers, but also for the egg, which I'll probably use in a different card. And so I'm just going to line these up. And you could always die cut these out first and then use the Misty sticky mats to stamp later. But I'm just using a little bit of washi tape that I have to keep those in place so that it cuts out nice and stays centered when running through my die cutting machine. So here we have these beautiful flowers. Look how nicely these cut out and how nice those colors look. How pretty is that? So just going to continue on with that until I have all my flowers cut out. Those look great. And now I'm just going to cut out a couple sentiment strips here from our card sentiment dies from Emily Moore Designs. And I noticed that the sentiments from Catherine Pooler's Easter spring stamp set that we have here today will fit with our card sentiment dies, which is just one of the many benefits of our card sentiment dies. So here I'm just lining up Happy Easter. It looks like the P will go down a little bit off the sentiment die, but it doesn't exactly mess with the actual wording of it. And then I'm using a little bit of Versamark here to apply a little bit of gold. I felt like I wanted some gold here. This is gold embossing powder from Ranger. And this is just going to add some shine. So if you've never used embossing powder before, I have a whole separate blog video, a blog post and a video on that. So we're just pouring the embossing powder over it and dabbing off the excess powder, making sure that looks nice and good, and then putting away the excess powder. And then here I'm just going to heat it up, heat set it with my heat tool. So just heating it up, and then you'll see here that it adds just so much shine. So you can kind of see, isn't that pretty? And I feel like that still fits Happy Easter pretty well, even though it was a little bit cut off with the ribbon. I feel like it looked really nice on that. But I wanted to give myself a little bit of versatility as far as what I wanted to pick with this card. And just because if I don't use this Happy Easter and this card, doesn't mean I can't use it for a separate card that I want to use. So I decided to stamp Welcome Spring out in that Mandarin Spice, that beautiful dark orange. And look at how beautiful this turned out. And so there's the Welcome Spring, I think looks really nice. And here's our Happy Easter, which actually looks nice also with the strips. But I'm really feeling this Welcome Spring with all the flowers I made. And I really want to incorporate those flowers on the actual sentiment die and possibly on the card itself. So here I'm just kind of placing the flowers around my card, seeing where they would look good. I think it's important to add a little bit of dimension here so that we can differentiate the colors from the flowers and from our pattern that we created. So now I'm just adding a few sequins to the center of my flowers to add even more, just bring them to life even more. So I'm using a couple of gold sequins from a few Catherine Pooler packs that I have linked at the bottom, and some pink ones and blue. And then I did cut out my card sentiment dies, the A2 liner, this big one, and I used pixie dust around the edge. And I decided to grab one of Catherine Pooler's scallop dies here. And I really love doing this technique where we're going to create this to be a border. So I'm just going to move my flowers. I'm going to let those dry, the sequins, and I'm going to work on the inside of my card. So I'm going to cut this out so that I can create this beautiful pink border, pink purple border with that pixie dust. This is actually a technique I used on other cards, but I did this border before for a different card and it didn't work out. And I have it here and it works out perfectly for this because it matches. So I decided to add a little strip to the inside. I love adding a little bit of decorative touch to the inside where the sentiments are going to be written, so that either, it doesn't have to be so much space in there for you to write, for the person to write. And it just makes it even more personalized and feel special, I think. So I'm going to do blue, I decided, since I have that purple background, and then I'm going to stick with the orange for that scalloped heart shape. And then this also brings the design from the outside to the inside of our card. I feel like I'm having trouble talking today, sorry. So that just, makes the design flow. So now we're going to put this down on our pixie dust border that we created. That looks so beautiful. I love that purple color. And I just love that. So now I have these are the thin 3D foam squares, so they're a little bit thinner than the normal ones, which I really like for the inside of the card. I just feel like you don't want too much bulk on the inside of your card, right? So, and then I added a little micro dot for one of the other flowers, and it looks so cute. So I'm going to put this on the inside of my card. This will be perfect for writing your sentiments in here. Look at how pretty. And that just matches the outside so nicely. Look at that with the pretty flower detail. I just love that. Sometimes it's easier to finish the inside before you do the outside. So now I'm using some normal 3D foam squares. So these are going to be a little bit lift it up a little bit more than those thin ones that I am going to try to use on the flowers here. So just trying to make sure that goes on straight, looks good. And now my sequins are dry, so I'm just going to kind of spread out my flowers and see exactly, where I want them. I know when you're placing flowers or something like this, it's nice to have them layered and touching a little bit. It does add visual interest, and it just makes it look, I don't know, things just look nicer when they're kind of clustered together. So I'm going to do a little bit right here. I'm going to put this little blue guy. I think he's super cute with a little micro dot on the actual sentiment. That looks really pretty. And then off the sentiment here to the left side, I'm going to put a couple flowers here in the same type of cluster formation like I did with the yellow and purple. And then I felt like there's one more little blue one in the corner would be pretty. So how nice is that? I just love the look of that. And then this looks so beautiful. I just love that. And I decided I have one more flower left, and it's the purple, and it matches that border, and I feel like it actually brings it all together. I was going to leave it off, but I actually really like the way it looks all together. So here I'm just adding that in to the inside. And there we go. This is our beautiful spring card. So here's the inside. How lovely is that little flower cluster? And then the outside that we handmade our own background with those little card sentiments that was so useful. And then our beautiful flower clusters and our stripes that we made ourselves. So that's how you make your own background. Thanks so much for watching.